Leap of Fate podcast fans, welcome to this week's episode with yours truly, Randy Silver. This week's episode is going to be around entrepreneurship and changing your life from that corporate life or having a boss to starting your own job, starting your own business, and following your dreams. I have Tonia Decosimo on this week, and she's going to talk about how she made that transition for herself, especially in the terms of POWER, which stands for Professional Organization of Women of Excellence Recognized. So she's going to come on and talk, and we're going to give you the quick bio about her. Before we do, I just want to say thank you again to my loyal audience, Loft Gang. Thank you for all the feedback you give every week, for all the things you say about the guests who come on. You guys truly make a mark in my life. Thank you so much. I do this for you. Please follow Leap of Fate Pod on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Please go hit that like, subscribe, review button, whatever you do. Please, thank you so much. I appreciate your support. So who's my guest this week? Tonia is an entrepreneur, author, publisher, columnist, and host. She received a BS degree in elementary education in English from Manhattan College in Riverdale, New York. Her career path, however, took her in the fields of marketing, publishing, advertising, where she worked successfully for 25 years. During that time, she built and managed several companies for others. She eventually started her own business, one of them being P.O.W.E.R, which I just talked about, the Professional Organization of Women of Excellence Recognized. P.O.W.E.R is an organization as well as a quarterly digital and print magazine for women professionals in all different industries and professions at a national level. P.O.W.E.R features and highlights celebrities, icons, everyday hardworking women. She founded this organization to recognize, empower, inspire, and help assist women gain the exposure they deserve. She has interviewed and featured some of the most powerful and hardworking women, including Susan Lucy, the Point Sisters, Trish McVoy, Gloria Gaynor, Carrie Ann Inba, Gia de los Trances, Bobby Brown, and more. She is also a contributing writer for Thrive Global, Medium.com, in covering important women issues. She is very accomplished. I think we can put it very importantly that she is an awesome guest. She is a star of the show today. I'm so happy to have her on. So without further ado, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I think I should also say how I got connected to you was, everyone remembers Victoria Wick from a couple of weeks ago. She was a jewelry designer. You were on her podcast and I was listening to it, and your whole message, your story, your background, everything I just said resonated with me so well that I asked Victoria to connect me to you so I could bring you on mine. So I'm happy Victoria did that. Shout out, Victoria. Thank you so much. And thank you for coming on.
You see, it's all about connecting and networking, right? And collaborating with like-minded professionals.
I completely agree. And I think a good thing for us to start with is I give a quick overview, but in your words, could you give my audience, the Loft Gang, just a quick 1 minute, 2 minute high level of your background and how you got to where you are today?
Well, like you mentioned, I have a bachelor's degree in elementary education. So I went to college to become a teacher. And when I graduated, there were like no teaching jobs to be found, except working in a Catholic school, making $18,000 a year. That was back in you're going to know my age, 1991. And a friend of mine was working in sales for a publishing company. And he's like, you know what, while you're looking for a teaching job, why don't you come and work in sales? So I was like, okay, I never really did sales before, but why not? So I tried this job. It was phone sales. It was, again, working for a publishing company, a who's who organization. And I did extremely well. There were like 100 salespeople, and I became the top salesperson within a 6-month period of time.
Congratulations.
And then I got promoted to management. Thank you. And I got promoted to management, and then I got promoted again to general manager. And from there, I started going out, helping to build other publishing and marketing companies, writing their sales materials, really training and hiring and just building their whole organization. So I did that for years. And then I decided to go out on my own. I was told that I really couldn't do it on my own as a woman. And that kind of stuck with me. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to show you. So I decided to go out and created my own organization for women. So just to, a place where women can come together and again, collaborate with like-minded professionals, mentor one another, gain the recognition and exposure that they really deserve.
And I love that. And I should have mentioned this earlier. I'm the chief revenue officer at an e-com. So sales is near and dear to my heart. So we could talk sales all day, but that could be a totally different podcast. So let me ask you this. Transitioning from being in the corporate life and having the boss and having the insurance, everything comes with it, to starting your own business is scary. And a lot of the people who listen to me are in that transition of the life where they made some money and they want to do that, but they don't know how. How did you get over that hurdle to make that transition? And what were some of the key things that you told yourself to make sure you can make that happen?
Well, it's interesting that you ask this because some people think I'm crazy for when I made the move. I owned my own home. I was in the midst of redoing my whole kitchen, and you know how costly it is to redo a kitchen. I was redoing my bathroom as well. So I was just redoing my whole house. And I just got to the point, something happened at the job that day. And I just said, I'm just not doing this anymore. And I went home and I'm like, oh my God, I'm redoing my kitchen, I'm redoing my bathroom. I'm not going to have an income. And I was like, you know what? I will always find something to do. And I just said, I'm leaving, gave it 2 weeks notice. And because you never want to leave a job and just quit and leave. You always give it 2 weeks notice at least. And I just said, I'm going to do it for myself. I think the most important thing is really believing in yourself and being passionate about what you want to do. It's very scary to go out there and start your own business. Also, it's who's behind you. And I like to say, really, who's beside you? Yeah. The people that you hire, just your whole team. I mean, there's no I in team. And you just have to take the leap of faith, right? You have to take the leap of faith and believe in yourself. You might fail and you might win. You just don't know. Life is like a box of chocolates, right? Forrest Gump. Just don't know what you're going to get. So I had to take that leap of faith for myself. Otherwise, I would have never known. You have your good days, you have your bad days, you have your ups, you have your downs, you have your all arounds, and you just have to continue to believe in yourself and surround yourself with the right people.
So I think you made some really good points there. You had to have the belief in yourself, and you know what? You had the confidence yourself that came with the belief that wherever I go, I know I'll be successful. So when you made that decision, did you know that you were going to start P.O.W.E.R, or you just knew you wanted to go do something different and you'll figure out after the fact?
I knew I wanted to start a women's organization for years. And as a matter of fact, I had mentioned it to my boss years prior. And, we never ran with it together. So then I just decided to go out and do it on my own.
Do you feel like you were discriminated in the workplace for being a woman?
Yes and no. It's such a difficult question because it's not male bashing because I love men. My father was a man, but I feel sometimes, I feel I was a little bit. Absolutely. I mean, that's one of the reasons that I left.
Yeah. And, like I said, like as a CRO, like I've dealt with a lot of people. When I used to work for Cisco, I was running a global team of 25 people, and I would have my female employees in sales come to me, especially when they were working with foreign countries where women weren't seen on the same level, that they felt derogatory against. And they felt like when they were doing sales, they literally would not listen to them when they were the sales rep because they wanted a man to be telling it and whatnot. So that's why I asked that question, because it's something that should not be happening whatsoever. I know now we're in 2020 area. I'm sure back in 1990, it wasn't as prevalent or something that people should have been talking about back then as they were.
Right. I'm pretty outspoken. So if I don't like the way I'm being treated, I'll speak my mind. Could be good, could be bad. But, I don't let that really affect me in a negative way. If anything, you learn from it, you move forward, and that's what I did.
Yeah, and like you said, you have the chip on the shoulder, almost like an athlete. It was like, cool, you doubt me, I'm gonna prove you wrong. And then when I'm at the top,
Right.
I'll be looking down at you and saying, I told you so. I had it in me. So then when you did that, so then when you were like, okay, let me go ahead and start P.O.W.E.R, where did you start? Giving us like really like, how did you create the plumbing to start your own business? Was it trying to find investors? Was it finding friends who could help you? Was it going, creating an LLC? What did it take to start that business?
Well, first, I did have a partner in the beginning, and it was a male partner, but that we actually had another who's who organization. This was somebody that I worked with.
Can you just explain what that means?
So
some people might not
there's
know.
different who's right. There's different who's who organizations, which is a business publication. Ours was Strathmore's Who's Who Worldwide of Executives and Professionals. So there we featured men and women executives and professionals. So I did have a male partner, and then I decided to go out on my own. So I left my old boss, had a partnership with somebody else that I used to work with, and then went out on my own. So that was really the step that I took.
Got it.
I hired. It's a lot of work. I mean, you're hiring people, you're putting ads in the paper, you're putting ads in Indeed, Craigslist, every avenue to try to hire really their sales professionals. I call them executive directors, but it's sales. You're interviewing people, you're gathering business information on them, and then you're offering them a membership program into P.O.W.E.R, and also advertising in the magazine. So really the hardest part is hiring the right people, especially today. I mean, things are crazy today where I feel like nobody really wants to work. A lot of people are unemployment. And there are people that should be on unemployment. They really can't find a job. But for instance, I'm hiring, and I've actually had people say to me, when my unemployment expires, I'll come work. So, it's what's happening. What's happening to this country? Why do people not want to work? Why would you rather sit home and collect unemployment? Get out there, work. Use your brain. I just see a big difference. And, people say to me, during COVID, how did you survive with your business? I was in the office every day by myself. My employees were working from home, but I did come in the office because I would have went stir crazy. I don't even know how people work from home. I would go stir crazy. I like the whole camaraderie. I like seeing people. And I know, our world is changing due to COVID, but I do hope we get back on track soon.
And have you seen your business change over the years as well? Because obviously with that age of internet and digital media, I'm sure you went from a lot of print, like people can see behind you if you're watching on YouTube, you have your magazine covers, which all look so cool. I'm sure a lot of your readers probably now more digital than physical. So how do you change your business and evolutionize with how society is changing as well?
Well, it's funny because I'm an old soul, I'm old fashioned, I'm traditional. Change was difficult for me. The internet was difficult. Even today, like with social media, I have to be honest, like I'm not that computer and social media savvy. And that's why they have social media directors and managers. So you have to hire the right people to help you out. But my business, it changed. Everything was print. There was no such thing as digital magazines. Now my magazine is still print and digital because I do like sending the print copy out. I feel like when you have something tangible to hold, it's so different. Even like reading a book. Like when I'm on the plane, I want to hold that book, and I want to read it. I want to have it in my hands. So I think when I don't know your age, but when you're my age, it's a transition, and you just have to roll with the punches, I guess.
Got it. So from a business perspective, what did you guys have to do to ensure that you made that happen? You, like you said, you hired the right people, but what were those, like, to give people insight, like you running your company, what were some of those exact decisions you had to make that were pivotal to make your business continue to move forward?
Well, listen, you're working a lot of hours. You are, there's working hard and there's working smart. You have to, in my business, obviously I'm dealing with women. I'm a woman, but sometimes women are not easy. Just saying, your customer service really is number one. That's what I think. Yes, the people that are, behind you, beside you, whatever you want to say, that's very important. But customer service, the customer is always right. And you have to get into a mindset of knowing that your customer's number one, your customer's always right, even when they're wrong, learning how to speak to people, learning how to have a discussion. So if you can't do that in business, never open up your own business. And I see people today, I don't like what this person said, so, I don't want you part of my organization, or I don't want this, or I don't want that. Everybody has a different view, and you have to know how to communicate. So for me, that's number one. Starting a business, you have to say right out of the gate, I'm not always going to be right. I'm not always going to agree with what other people say, but you have to learn to work it out. Putting in massive hours. I did not have a life in the beginning. My life was work. I'm an insomniac as it is, but you're trying to fall asleep at night and boom, something pops into your mind, and I'm writing things down, and I have a pen and pad next to me, and I'm writing ideas down, and running those ideas through your team. What do you think about this? It's all trial and error too, So it's not always what I think. Yes, at the end of the day, it's what I say, but I always want to make sure that my team is like, yeah, let's go for it, Tonia, great idea, or constructive criticism. No, I think you're doing this wrong. Let's not go that route. So you have to be able to take criticism, and just know that nothing's easy. There's going to be ups and downs, like I said earlier.
Yeah. And honestly, every other person who's come on the podcast has said the same thing, whose entrepreneurship focus is the long hours. It's going to take time. But once you get there, you have to listen to your customers. You have to listen to your base, because if you're not, they're going to find the next business out there that's going to satisfy their needs, not what you're trying to do. So I love that you said that.
What? I also want to say you need a good attorney, right? You need a good accountant. You need a good financial advisor. You're talking about an LLC. Is your business going to be incorporate? Like there's just so many things that you need to understand. And, saying you want to start a business is great, but then actually doing it and seeing everything else that comes along with it, it's shocking. It is.
What was a moment, or was there an inflection point when you're like, we just made it? And like, it's not that grind of, hey, are we making it? Are we making it? Maybe we're going to business, but like, hey, we made it. We're here. Now let's take it to the next level.
I think after I was in business for myself, after 5 years, because they do say in some businesses, you don't make money to anywhere from 2 to 5 years. And that's true in a lot of cases. So I think once we hit that 5-year mark, I was like, wow, we did it. We did it.
And what was that feeling like? Was it, eagerness to continue forward? Did you take a step back and, a pat on the back, we made it? I'm sure the people around you were satisfied for you, but for you personally, how did you feel?
I wanted more. I wanted to keep going, okay, we're safe now, but what's the next thing? What are we doing next? Like every day I'm trying to think of the next thing that I can do to improve me and improve the company. And, you can never just sit back and be like, we made it. You got to just keep going, because you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. I mean, example, COVID. Look at how many people lost their livelihood.
Yeah.
You thought you were safe. Restaurants that were doing amazing, and now they're out of business. So you don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. So we're never really safe.
I agree. And like you said, how did you continue to run your business through COVID? You said people work remotely, you were in the office, but did you have to change your business practices? Did you have to unfortunately lay people off? You said you're trying to hire people. So how have you been able to continue the business going through all of this?
Well, it was difficult. Again, having people work from home, that was something I never did, you know. Now I'm actually, as much as I like the camaraderie again and people being in the office, I am hiring some people remotely in other states because now I know it can work. But you know, it coming in every day and being alone, that's not me. So there was an adjustment. Like some people, I don't know if you work from home, but maybe that's something you're used to. If you're not used to something and it happens overnight and you're told, you know, can't have any employees at work. You can't do this, you can't do that. I mean, this is America. We're used to, right, doing what we want, coming and going. And we all went through it together. It's not just me. We all went through this together.
I was in an office every day, and then this happened. Our whole team was now remote. I was actually supposed to go to London for work the day before everything got shut down, and then I couldn't go. And personally, I love working remotely. Like, I actually don't ever want to go back to an office because I love being able to just get up, don't have to travel, just get your work done. You can work late, and then you have the freedom here. So maybe you have to go to the office here and then, but like, I personally love being a remote worker, and hopefully, knock on wood, I don't ever have to go back to an office.
So many people love it.
I agree. And then to take it to a left turn for a little bit, P.O.W.E.R. I love to talk about that. Can you give the audience, what is P.O.W.E.R? You kind of briefly, but what's the goal of P.O.W.E.R? What do you do? Obviously, we see the magazines behind you, so please tell us about it.
Okay. So P.O.W.E.R stands for Professional Organization of Women of Excellence Recognized. Okay, so we are a women's organization, and it's basically a membership. It's kind of like joining a country club. You know, you join a country club to associate with, like, you know, certain caliber of people. And it's the same thing with this organization. These are women in all industries and professions, from celebrities, icons, and everyday hardworking women who want to collaborate with like-minded professionals, who want to mentor each other. We have a Share Your Story section. We help people with branding and marketing services. So we have different membership levels. Anywhere from, you know, a diamond to a silver program. And our diamond program is a lifetime membership. So people listed on our website, we do a press release on them. They get a wall plaque of recognition. They're in the magazine. They get a copy of the magazine. So it's not just a magazine. It's all products and services. And it's also depending on what people are looking for.
Would you almost call it like a lifestyle brand because it has so many different arms that you can help people with?
Yes. Yeah.
And this might be a basic question, but would men be able to join, or is it just strictly for women?
So you can't turn anybody down, right? That wouldn't be nice. Actually, it's funny that you said that, because in my last issue, I featured a gentleman, LeVar Arlington. He was an ex-NFL player. And he was a man of power who's helping, you know, teenagers. So we wanted to highlight him. We also have the Power Couple of the Year. So we do have some men. If you're a man dealing with a lot of women, you know, we're gynecologists. So yeah, we won't turn you down.
Yeah. And then as a side note, y'all, wherever you're listening, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, go to the bios. I'll have all the links here that we're talking about. So do you have a favorite issue, or do you have a favorite guest or anything of that nature? Maybe you can't because you don't want to piss people off, but something that was really keynote that you're like, hey, if someone wanted to see you for the first time, this is probably what you should look at first.
You know, it's fine. I mean, everyone I meet is just so inspiring and empowering, really. But, you know, I always tell the same story. I have to say this. Please. I love Susan Lucci. I mean, I grew up watching All My Children, and you know Susan Lucci, right?
I'm going to say, unfortunately.
Probably not. I'm sorry. I'm telling my age. Okay. Anyway, She's an actress and she's an entrepreneur and she's amazing. She's like this big. She's a size 0 and just never ages. She's beautiful inside and out. So anyway, I put her on the cover of my magazine, but I was her waitress back in the day. I grew up in the fact that she grew up in Garden City and she used to come into this ice cream parlor, Swenson's, that I used to work in. And I saw her walk in there and I said to my boss, oh my God, that's Susan Lucci. I have to be her waitress. And then I went back to him and I go, no, forget it. I can't be her waitress. What if I drop something on her? And they're like, no, I want to be her waitress. I don't care if I drop something on her. Then I'll get to be able to meet her, you know? So it was so funny. So I became her waitress. And here I am years later asking this woman to be on the cover of my magazine. So it's just an amazing story to me.
And when you told her that story, what did she say?
She was like, I go, Susan, I go, do you remember me? She's going to remember me now. She didn't remember me. You know, I was 16. But I was like, you used to come into Swenson's and you used to have a waitress. And that was me. So she thought it was pretty cool. And she came in these, we used to call them back in the day, diaper shorts. And she's just the cutest thing. Really the cutest thing.
I love that. And for you, that's probably full circle to go from looking up at one of your idols and serving her as a waitress to now you're running an organization, which was your dream, and bring her on to help promote that dream. So yes. Do you think your 16-year-old self would look at you today in that moment and be like, we made this happen, I can't believe it?
Yes, absolutely.
I love that. And then the people around you, they probably always saw this in you, that have the entrepreneurship mind, the dreams, everything with it. What do they say when they look at you and they're like, look at what you built? Did they believe in you? They can't believe it. Now they believe it, but they told you that at the beginning they didn't. So how does the support system around you feel?
You know, I have to say, I mean, I'm in business now. I think it was just 14. It was 14 years. On April 11th, I was in business 14 years. And when you have like 5 people that have been with you that long, it says something. You know, I don't have a huge company. I don't have, 50 people working for me. I have, about 15, sometimes 20, it depends. But when you have people working for you, they respect you. Yeah. And that I respect them. So it's a two-way street. But they are proud of me and I'm proud of them. And I think honesty and integrity is the most important thing. Being able to look yourself in the mirror saying, I do the right thing. I'm not perfect. I've screwed up plenty of times. I'm sure there's people that I've hurt, but I don't do things intentionally to hurt somebody. I try to learn from my mistakes. And I think treating people the way you want to be treated is one of the reasons that I'm successful.
And I completely agree with that. When I speak to my team, I hire new people, I put on the board the 10 values and treat people the way you be treated. Make sure you're on time, all the decent human morals, because people want to do business with people who are doing business with them correctly. And obviously it's very evident you do that. And it's the same thing like Victoria said, to call back to her for a second. She said when she was doing sales, if one of her products was bad, then she would tell the buyer it was a bad product, don't buy it. If the product was good, she would say that, and they would buy more of it because they know she's being honest and authentic, which is what you're saying here as well.
Mm-hmm. And, when you're talking about bad and good, you always want to reward people. I think constructive criticism is important, but you also want to tell your employees when they're doing something right.
Yep.
I mean, we shouldn't have to be rewarded every day. I'm not the type of person that believes everybody should get, an award when they're in a race. Okay. Yeah. No, if you win the race, you get the trophy. But I do think positive reinforcement is important.
Yeah, I truly believe in positive affirmation. I believe in that so much. So as we round around third and get to the end of this podcast, I want to touch on the other thing is you're also an author and you wrote a book, Single, Not Settling, A Journey of Surviving the Dating World. Especially through the pandemic, personally, be transparent here, It's been tough to date people. So everything. Love for you to talk about the book and just kind of your journey in that sense as well.
Yeah. So I wrote that book, I think it's 2 years ago. And what happened was I did not get married till I was just turning 45. So that's old for a lot of women. And I just had broken off an engagement 3 weeks before our wedding.
Oh, wow.
Which was crazy. So we lost a lot of money. I mean, the band was paid for, we put a down payment on the catering hall, the photographer. So we lost a lot of money, but that's okay. So 3 weeks before, I decided to call it off. So after we had ended our relationship, I started dating, and I was like, this is crazy. I was meeting just so many crazy people, like lunatics, scary stories. And I said, I have to write a book about being single and dating and not settling. And that's what I did. And halfway through the book is when I met my husband now. So, I just give tips. It's my memoir, what I went through, like do's and don'ts. And a lot of people, I think, settle because they just want to get married and have children. There are other people that are way too picky and just everyone's the wrong person. You do have to give people a chance, but never settle.
Do you think that it took you so long because you were so business focused that was your main love per se, or do you think you just never found the right person?
I think I really just never found the right person. Or, I did my first love. Well, you have to read the book. I can't tell you everything. My first love, I dated from 14 to 23. And he broke my heart. I thought I was going to marry him. So I was devastated. And I didn't want to date anyone after him for like a good 2-3 years. So I did have, a lot of disappointments. And I think it's kind of like business, there's some disappointments in business, there's disappointments in your personal life, and it's just, what are you going to do with that? Are you going to be the type of person that's poor me and feeling sorry for you your whole life, or are you going to move on and get over it? We all have something, and that's how I am in all aspects of my life. We've got to move on, we've got to get past it.
And so when you were writing this book, because that's really true, how did you find the time to write a book while you're running your business and everything else going on in your life? Was it stuff that, again, team no sleep, or you set time in the calendar? Because a lot of people talk about wanting to write a book and they have ideas, they never follow through. So how did you make that follow through happen?
Randy, look at my eyes. It's called no sleep.
You look beautiful. Everyone on YouTube sees it.
It's no sleep. I'm the type of person, I can't sit still, and I work well under pressure. I am lucky where I'm able to balance and do like 100 things at one time. And when I put my mind to something, it's almost like, an OCD, like, yeah, I have to do it. I have to complete this. So I never want to start something and then not finish. And writing the book for me was therapy. And also I just said to myself, I have to finish this because if I could help one person, it's worth it. And, you don't write a book overnight. I mean, I think it took me like 2 years because, the first draft, I was like, oh my God, I can't write this in there. I can't put this person. You can't put real names in the book because you don't want to offend anybody, and get lawsuits. So there's so many things that you have to be careful when writing, a memoir.
Yeah, I think the buzzword in my head that you're talking about is this consistency. You're consistent in power. You're consistent in writing the book. To relate it to me for the audience, when I first started this podcast, the buzzword everyone kept telling me was consistency. Like, are you really going to spend the time every week to create the podcast, everything you do with it? And I think this probably will be show 52, which means this will be my 1-year episode. So thank you for coming on, special episode. But I've missed 1 week the whole year because it was Thanksgiving. I want to spend time with my family. Other than that, I literally put an episode out every week. And I think that's what you're showing us today is you need to be driven. You need to be consistent. You need to be hardworking. And when you have those combinations, you can make your dreams reality. It's not going to be easy. You got to put the work in, but you have the potential to make it happen.
Right. But that's so true. But one thing I did learn, you don't have to do it all. And I think sometimes as women, we feel like, oh my God, we have to do it all. I have to do this. I have to do that. I have to get this done. And sometimes it's overwhelming. You have to learn how to space things out and, what's important. And just be true to yourself and just do what makes you happy and try to do it the right way.
I love that. I think that's a great way to end the podcast. Are there any other final words besides that?
Ladies, we are all women of power. I just want to say that. Okay? Nobody's better than anybody else. It doesn't matter if you're a celebrity, if you're an everyday hardworking woman, we all are powerful women, and just be, like I said, true to yourself, have integrity. And if you're interested in being a member of P.O.W.E.R, go to powerwomenofexcellence.com, or you can go to ToniaDecosimo.com, and we'd love to have you aboard and hear your story.
Tonia, thank you so much for coming on. I love that. Everyone, again, please go to the bios, however you're listening or watching. I'll have all the links you talked about. Please rate, review, subscribe on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, YouTube. It means a lot. Do you have anything you want to share as well? Any personal links besides P.O.W.E.R?
ToniaDecosimo.com, P.O.W.E.R. Then if they go on top of the P.O.W.E.R website, there's all my Facebook links, Instagram, all the social media.
Awesome. And we'll link that as well. So thank you so much for coming on today. You've been an unbelievable guest. We'll do our sign off. So I would like you to repeat after me. Stay healthy.
Stay healthy.
Stay wealthy.
Stay wealthy.
And have a good week, fans.
And have a good week, fans.
Deuces.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.